Hello, today we are going to talk more about translating absolute value functions. So we're going to look at it through our graphing calculator. If you pull up your graphing calculator on your desk there, I want you to all start off at the same place, and I left the keystrokes for you here. So if we hit second plus key, which is our memory function, we want to hit number 7, reset, and then scroll over to all and hit enter. For this reset memory, we want to make sure that we hit number 2, so we reset the memory, and that will give us a fresh start so that we all have the same screen. So if you want to go ahead and write those notes down in your notebook, it's a good idea to have this series of keystrokes available to start off when you're using the graphing calculator. All right, so what we're going to do now is we are going to graph some of these functions on our graphing calculator. So to do this, let's see, I'm going to get rid of this screen here, maybe. We can move it over a little bit. We are going to graph the first one, f of x equals absolute value of x minus 1. So if we go into our y equals, that allows us to put all of our functions into our graphing calculator. Absolute value is under the math key. So we hit math, and we want to move arrow over to the right for number, and number 1 represents absolute value. So you can see it comes up with the absolute value bars, and flashing here, we need to put our x value in. And then the arrow over saying, do you want to move out of the absolute value? If we hit our arrow out, then we can hit minus 1. And now to see how this function graphs, we can hit graph, and there it is. And now we can see that our whole function just moved down slightly. So that minus 1 actually transforms our function down 1 unit here. So now we have, draw it in red, a new vertex position. So this moved our absolute value down 1 unit. Why don't you go ahead and try the next one on your own? Press pause and then come back with us. So we go back into y equals. We can clear everything out so we no longer have any functions, and we can plot the next one. So we go to math, arrow over to number. Number 1 is absolute value. Then we put in our x. Now we want to put plus 2 inside of our absolute value. If I hit my arrow over and graph. And now it looks like we moved our vertex over 2 units to the left. So it's kind of opposite intuition for this one. Because of the plus 2, we actually moved 2 units to the left. So 2 units left. Now we have 2 moves here. Try to take a guess what's going to happen to this absolute value function, and then go back and check it on your graphing calculator. So I'll go ahead and put it back into my y equals. I'll clear out. You could just adjust your function rather than clearing each time. So math, number, absolute value, x plus 2, move outside the absolute value and subtract 3. Then you can hit graph. So we moved 2 units now to the left and down 3 units for a new vertex here. We can go ahead and write that down. So 2 units left and 3 units down. We have 2 more that we're going to play with on our absolute value. Here's the next one. We want to go back to y equals. and I'll clear it out again. Each time I'll clear it out just so you get used to seeing where the absolute value is. That's a negative symbol out front. So here's your negative symbol. You don't want to hit a minus. The calculator will say error if you do. Math, number, absolute value, and put an X there, arrow over, and graph. And now the absolute value is turned upside down. This is called a reflection over your x-axis. So we'll say reflection over x-axis. And now our last one. We have, I'll just delete this now, and I'll go inside my absolute value. I'm going to insert a negative there, so I'll hit second, insert, and I'll put a negative in front there, and arrow out. So now I have absolute value inside, and I hit graph. And now it looks just like our parent function, but if this one is reflecting over the x-axis, this one here is reflecting over the y-axis. It does not look any different because our absolute value is symmetric about our y-axis. So we'll write reflection over y-axis. That's it for now.